Good morning. All right, today we're gonna show how to put a plumbing flange on a flat roof. These are spun aluminum, come with a cap and 3 or 4 inch. Get the right lid for the pipe you're working on. They also come insulated and non-insulated. So this one is insulated with some foam. If you get just the shell, you need to insulate it with some bad insulation after it's installed, or it will condensate and leak into the building. So first prep, here's the pipe we're going to be putting the flange on. We already trimmed it down to size. It was this tall. Use our rigid pipe cutter, cut it down. All right, so second thing we're going to do is take our flange and make sure the flange is bent down a tiny bit. Oftentimes they come cupped. This will make sure it sits nice and flat. Sit good there. All right, next we're going to get it primed up so we can let it dry. Prime the top and the bottom. We prime the bottom because we put plastic cement on there and this helps it adhere. Leave that aside for a second. All right, now we got to make sure this area is completely dry. So it's pretty dry except for here. Watch his hands. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure we burn the poly off on this area where the flange is going to sit. The plastic cement won't really stick to the base if the poly's not burned off, so we're going to heat up this area. And one note, when we're roofing, we make sure we seal this when we do the base. It keeps all the flames out. We had a piece of fire tape around it, plus we pushed bitumen against it. So this is already watertight. If you have gaps in there, it could possibly suck the flame in, and we don't want that. We take our flange. Speed up the drying process a little bit. So regular plastic cement, we use Karnak. You can use Suprema, Baycor, a whole bunch. Does not need to be thick. It's just to make a gasket between this and the base sheet. We also want to try and stay away from the outside edge. So as we push this in, we don't want that plastic cement shooting out. Slide it over the top. Make sure it's centered. Just press down a little bit. All right, looks good. Next, we're going to fasten it to the roof. Pass me your drill. It's the same as the scuppers. I like using the actual screws and plates. And when I screw it in, I'm not going to screw through the flange. I'm going to screw through the base, just so the plate catches the flange and holds it down. See if we get, I didn't get lucky. Yeah, we did. I want 3 points of contact, so 2 here. If you don't have plates and screws, you can use regular screws. With this, you have to go through the flange. That is also okay. All right, now she's secure. I'm going to test fit the lid. If it's on well, show the top really quick. So the flange has to be slightly higher than the pipe. This part of the lid needs to sit inside the pipe, and the big part sits outside. So you can see when it goes on, now when it rains, water that goes inside is already going to go in the pipe. So that's good. We'll put a screw in at the end to make sure it stays on. These will fly off in windstorms. And now we're going to get our target patch. All right, target patch is going to be a 3x3 cut out of base. And we're going to cut a hole in the center. To find center, do a kitty corner. Fold it again, do it. Press the middle. So there's a little X right here. That's going to be your center. If you had a tape measure, you can measure the width of this. I use my hand or my knife. This one's just bigger than my knife. So I'm going to put that on. Take 2 marks. This cut doesn't need to be perfect, but can't be shit either. Just cut a circle out, nice and easy. It looks actually too small, but we're going to test fit it. So it's a little bit tight. What you want is for this base to be about 1 inch back from the flange, so that when we do our cap sheet, we can do our cap sheet nice and tight. So I'm just going to trim this back about 1 inch. Okay, now it looks good. So our base runs this way. Rather not do that, because then when we do our cap sheet, we're coming up to a butt edge. So we'll turn it on to a diamond pattern, we call it. Center it on there. All right, now it's ready to get torched down. Always gonna heat up our trowel. Make sure it's a little bit clean. Now here's the magic to this. You're going to stand on it. You're going to grab the far point. You're going to lift it up. And as you're torching this, you're going to try and get just past half. So keep your boot just past half. Lift up on an angle. You're going to get some heat in there. And then rotate and pull this one up as well. That way when we go to the other side, we're already past half, makes it a lot easier. So I'm going to pull this side up, give it some heat. You see, as I'm torching, I make sure I hit this part. That's going to be on the flange as well. Okay, then we're just going to walk it in. Good. So what I didn't do, I didn't torch all the way to the edge, so all these should be able to be lifted up. I like doing that with the trowel after, that way I can butter it in. You will see a little bit of smoke come out of here. It's not a big deal. It's just the plastic cement that got heated up. So now we can lift this side up, and we'll just kneel like we're doing a flashing. And you can see I'm torched past halfway, so that's good. Same thing, just walking in nice and gently. Okay, so now we're going to butter up the middle. The reason we left that 1 inch gap when we cut it is that we can heat it up. We're gonna heat the base here and butter it in. It's nice and light. That's ensuring we got a really good seal because we're going around something circular. You don't need a lot of heat and you don't need to push a lot of the bitumen. All right, so that looks really good. I'm satisfied that's sealed. Now I'm gonna go around the perimeter, all four sides. I'm traveling where I can. And then I'm gonna treat this just like it's the end lap of a flashing. So it's doing the bottom little piece. And also I'm not gonna torch right to the corners because I wanna be able to lift this side up next. So just like a flashing on the bottom, make sure it's buttered in. Because we have a lap in the flat here, we want to make sure we butter this up as well. Okay, just work our way around. Now I do want to go right to this corner because that's already been torched, so now I can finish off this corner. This one I left untorched so I can still flip that up. Side number 3.
For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel V the Dell Technologies Advisor at 310 Dell.
Okay, same right here, there's a lap down the flat, so we want to make sure we get that transition right there nice and buttered in. That's your main leak point anytime you got a transition. Okay, last step is we're going to take the lid that we already know fits, pop it on, and we're going to use something that isn't going to rust, short 1 1/4 or even 1 inch. And that's it. Standard operating procedure to install a tall cone on flat roof.